opens his Red Bull account. Welcome to Red Bull, Lewis Morgan.
Oh, Lewis Morgan!
Lewis Morgan strikes again.
Whoa!
I injured myself at the very last second of the first half of the playoff game at the end of the 2022 season against Cincinnati on my right side.
Has Morgan in the 18. Lewis Morgan got a foot to it.
And then in the second half I scored.
Settled here by Morgan, he'll give it a go! Lewis Morgan strikes! And the Red Bulls take the lead! Their money man all season long for a 1-0 advantage! There is concern for Lewis Morgan walking off the field though, and he's slowly making his way to the Red Bull bench. He's done.
I came out the game and I just thought I had a low-grade muscle strain. In the off-season. My recovery from it wasn't really great, and then I came back last pre-season and I started really noticing on my other side some bad muscle fatigue or pain, what I thought it was, and then it was a domino effect from there. I picked up an injury which again was a small muscle strain, and then we went into the Orlando game, and the first game of the season within 20 minutes it happened again. But I'd never really been injured in my career up until this point. I hadn't missed any games or training in 4 or 5 years, so I tried to play through it. I managed to play through that whole game. I knew something wasn't right, but I was probably lying to myself about how bad I thought it might be. Again, just wanting to help the team, wanting to play through pains. Like football players, we're never 100%, so if you wait to be 100%, you're never going to play any games. So Nashville at home, we had some meetings. I'd done some injections before that game to try and help calm down the area. It didn't work. And then Minnesota, the snow game, was when I noticed it was getting really bad. Again, around about 20 minutes into that game, the same almost like snapping sensation in my hip, and that's when I really knew it was starting to be a big issue. I missed around 8 weeks. Tried to come back. This snapping sensation kept happening over and over again, and then the big one was Orlando at home, which everyone saw.
Morgan challenging again. Morgan. By Cartagena, Lewis Morgan sends it wide. Terrific stuff from Lewis Morgan.
Yeah, but look at Morgan's reaction. Just come back from a long injury, but he didn't look happy before, and you can see from his reaction, he knows that he's not going to be able to continue this game. It's a real sad sight to see.
And that look says it all.
And then the Leagues Cup game, we played Philadelphia, and as the penalty taker at the club, I obviously wanted to assume responsibility and help the guys out.
It is Lewis Morgan for his first appearance since June 3rd when he aggravated a hip injury.
And on the penalty, I put my foot in the ground, and it happened again before I even made contact with the ball. So maybe a little bit naive from me, just wanting to be out there on the pitch, but it was a culmination of that happened probably 6 or 7 times, and each time it got worse and worse, and every time I wanted to get back, it just seemed to keep happening.
It became a decision to have Lewis get surgery towards the end of 2023 season. He made the decision to move forward with getting the procedure that was advised by our medical team. And this is no easy road. I mean, before a procedure, you're staring down the barrel of a long-term recovery, and it was never a doubt in my mind that he was going to attack it with really everything he got. And directly after the procedure, I mean, we had triple, quadruple sessions in 6:30, 7 a.m. starting. He's leaving the facility at 4:30 p.m. So it's a testament to him as a human being, and speaks a lot about his character.
It's a lonely time being injured, especially during the off-season when all the guys are away and it's cold, and I've been locked away inside in the gym throughout the whole holiday period, trying to work on getting strength back in my hips.
Oh yeah!
Love it. Is that a sprint? Let's go.
The way I've had it in my mind is since that Cincinnati game in the playoffs, I've been off. So if I take time off, then my recovery gets pushed back, and I've already missed so much football that I don't want to miss another second of it. So yeah, every single day, every single weekend I was there. The biggest thing for me is that Zach took no days off.
Try to keep that chest up a little more. Yep, try to keep that chest up a little more. Nice, clean.
Every single time that I was in here, he was in helping me, and that's just what you've got to do. You've got to sacrifice. The same way that he sacrificed time to try and get me back, I've got a duty to myself to make sure I take care of myself, and that's how we approached it. There's always an adaptation period from like in the gym work to outfield. We can't just go straight in with the team, so I think that started maybe the start of January where that adaptation phase really kicked in. So I'm with Zach for a couple of weeks just to reintroduce running mechanics.
And the first time.
The guys here do a really great job of integrating you in slowly, but also they listen to my body, they know when I'm ready to push, and they're great to work with.
From my perspective, in a rehab standpoint, as soon as you can introduce the ball, you introduce it. But it's one thing to introduce the ball early on in more of a controlled environment, but once you get onto the pitch and you introduce the ball, it's even better because he's so focused on his motor task, and that comes so second nature to him. So his ability to focus and lock in is just, it takes it to the next level.
I came out of surgery feeling amazing. I thought, oh, this is going to be so easy. But as I'm getting back on the field now, I'm noticing certain movements or quotes are going to take a little bit of time for me to adapt to. So we're trying to get back as soon as we can. The season's right around the corner, but after the previous setbacks I had, it's just about making sure that when I do come back, it's for good this time. Being away from that team environment is tough. So it felt a little bit surreal when you join back in with the team. It was almost like first day back at school. But yeah, it was really good, and it was obviously a big milestone for me in my recovery.
You just kind of saw a mentality shift and a light in his eyes that he really could start to see the light at the end of the tunnel type of thing. He saw what he was able to do, and that his body was able to withstand those demands and be part of the team again. That was special to see, and also obviously special for him too, because he could really see himself in the future be able to step back on the field in a real game situation.
The plan was always that my first minutes, if any, would be against Nashville in the opener. And then the medical team here are great. They always leave that opportunity for player-led discussion, and I was on the Friday before the LA Galaxy game, I was sitting there and I was thinking, do you know what, I feel like it makes more sense for me to try and get my first minutes in a pre-season setting and like a friendly, rather than, oh, it's the first week of MLS and the intensity of the game, instead of being here for our pre-season games through the roof. I thought it made more sense, and we had a discussion. We knew it was something that I would be able to tolerate, and we found the time for me to get some minutes against Galaxy. I wouldn't say I was over the moon excited with anything. It was just, right, that's that done. Now the real season starts and I need to do it all over again. It felt normal. I think you really build it up in your head about how amazing it's going to be and everything, but as soon as you do it, it just feels normal. It just feels like that's where you're supposed to be.
And here, welcome to the season, is Lewis Morgan, and welcome back to the Red Bulls.
You don't think about it when you're playing, but when you think about playing, you think, oh, that could maybe happen. So yeah, there was definitely trepidation, and I think I'm building that week in, week out. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable, and that's starting to drift away to the back of my mind.
Well, as you can see, a needed change made by Red Bull New York. Peter Stroud going off injured, and Lewis Morgan very much back amongst the fray.
That came about in an unfortunate way with Pete going down injured. And to be honest, that was actually probably the easiest game to come onto, because there was no time for me to think about getting warmed up, getting ready. Am I ready? How's my hip feeling today? It was just, Pete's coming off, you're going on. So when I came on, I wasn't really thinking about anything to do with injury. So it actually probably helped me settle into the game and just felt normal to me. I thought, and I'd built up in my head, when I come back, I'm going to score. It's going to be amazing, I'm going to feel brilliant.
Here's perhaps an opening through Morgan. Oh, wow! Fabulous goal from Lewis Morgan. A first goal since October 22, and boy, that'll mean everything to him.
When I scored, it just felt more relief than excitement or happiness. That real feeling of happiness or joy doesn't come until after the game when we've won, and then I can be like, okay, that's a big milestone for me. But if anything, this injury's taught me is to try and stay level-headed and not get too high and too low. So, yeah, it just felt normal. And any time that my name gets called upon to start, it's just knowing that there's a job to do that's way bigger than myself or how far I've came. It's about winning and getting 3 points. Football doesn't wait for anyone.
Ball slipped through from Elias Manuel into Emil Forsberg and Morgan!
Now when I think about it, of course that's a massive achievement for me and everything I went through, but when you're right in the thick of it, you don't really romanticise it. I'm just thinking we're playing Dallas at home and we need to win, and that's what we've done.
Medically speaking, hip arthroscopy and the amount of work that he had done in his hip, the rates for return to play range anywhere from 80 to 95% of returning to play. But there's a difference between return to play and return to performance. And some of the more higher quality studies out there point to around 25 to 30 or 35% of a return to performance level. That's pretty remarkable to see how far he's come and to see what he's doing right now.
Red Bull Arena is the slick stage today for the opening game of match day 6. The New York Red Bulls host Inter Miami.
This is going to be a game of transition for Red Bulls, so the way that Morgan gets behind could well be a key decider in this game.
Obviously conditions were crazy at the weekend. I scored a goal early on, and to be fair, those conditions are quite akin to Scotland where I'm from, so I felt at home.
Morgan, pressure on Krivtsov. Given away, taken back, Amaya to the foot of Van Zer. Morgan looking for number 2, got it! The Red Bulls' great Scott with 2 against his former team today. In transition the other way, Van Zer shrugs off Alan Dante Van Zer, squares it, Lewis Morgan, number 3.
One of the highlights of my career. The amount of adversity he's overcome, to be able to see him do his thing again, was just incredible. I mean, listen, we still have some work to do, but he's far exceeding my expectations for what I had of him right now, and he's put in the work and time to do it, and I can certainly vouch that he put in probably more work than I've seen of any athlete I've worked with.
All these feelings, it doesn't really set in for me until after. Now when I think about it, I'm like, that's crazy where I came from, all those injuries, the surgery, everything, to think that I've came full circle and I'm back starting games. That's amazing. Now when I think about it, of course that's a massive achievement for me and everything I went through. And like I say, Zach's been there the whole way, and it's something that he's went above and beyond to do. So like I say, for that I'm grateful to him.